Now, while 7,000 school children in the Kpandai district featured in our Schools of Shame series continue to slam it hard on the floor because of lack of furniture, Ghana's Education Minister, Dr. Yawas Edichum, has questioned why the plight and struggles of the rural poor people is being published. This follows the airing of two out of the 4-part Schools of Shame series put together by Joy News. Watch excerpt of what Jojo Kobna and the team found in Kpandai.
We are not sparing any efforts to make education in Ghana of the best quality and fit for the needs of the 21st century. Poverty should not be an excuse for any Ghanaian child not to reach their full potential.
The subjects and the what? The dates, okay?
Bashiru Nuruddin speaks for about 7,000 children without desk in the Kpandai district.
What is disturbing us is we don't have furniture. Sometimes when we are coming to school, we feel bored. We don't even feel to come to school because we don't have furniture. If you dress and come to school, you come and sit on the floor, your things will be dirty. So we are begging the government to give us chairs.
Every morning, these children carry stools and plastic chairs on their heads and head to school. Many of these children have walked several kilometers just to access school. Their school, Balai DA Primary School in the Kpandai district of the Northern Region, has no furniture, so their parents bought plastic chairs for them. Today is very important to these pupils. They have to write the end of their third term examinations. This examination is critical for them as it will determine whether they will be promoted to the next class or not. To avoid being late, some ride their bicycles hurriedly to school. Those who are fortunate settle in their chairs, but the majority of them go down on their knees, not as a form of worship, but to write exams. Those with plastic chairs put their exam papers on their lap and write, while others kneel and put their exam papers on their chairs. With time, tiredness sets in, and many who were sitting on the bare floor start to kneel. As time progresses, some change their positions and then lie on their bellies and begin to write. The Hamatan strong winds blow dust into the classrooms and settles on the children on the floor. 3 pupils sit on a bench. They face different directions while they continue writing the examinations. It is therefore impossible for these pupils to do independent work without copying or engaging in examination malpractice. Exams papers become dirty, school uniforms also become dirty. Nuruddin is not happy that they bathe and wear clean uniforms, only for them to sit on the dirty bare floor.
When we come and sit on the floor, our things will be dirty. The next day, when you go home, you would like to wash your things, but your parents will not agree for you to wash the things because the soap is now, all things are now critical. You don't have money to buy soap. Every day when you come to school, you go and you want to wash your things. Your parents will not agree.
Some of them, they come to school, they lie down, within some few days, their uniforms are dirty. Some of them, they can't even concentrate well. Imagine you lying on the floor and writing. You can't concentrate, and more to the point, those who are at the back, those who have the plastic chairs, they always come and take the front classroom, or maybe the front seat, and those who are lying at the back, they have to be at the back. And imagine this is a challenge for them.
Nuruddin's concern is corroborated by another student.
My name is Njoti Alice. I am in class 6. I want to be a lady. I want to be a nurse. When we are writing examination like this, we kneel on floor and write exams. After I finish writing, your paper will get dirty. If you went home and you want to take soap, your parents doesn't allow you to take it. They will say every time you wash your uniform, and we say now soap are now expensive.
So you heard the plea of some of these children, plus the district education officer for Kpandai crying for help, saying the situation is critical. Now, the education minister, Dr. Yao Seduchum, has been responding to the Joy News findings. Watch.
Ministry of Education, we believe that the better days of our nation, Ghana, is ahead of us and not behind us. Recently, I saw some TV programming. They were talking about Ghana's school of shame, and I was ashamed. Because of all the great things happening in the country, we want to focus on the negative and get the world to know that there are negative things in Ghana. Can you look straight in the eye of these children and tell me they are coming from schools of shame? They are coming from schools of fame. They're going to change the story of Ghana. These young men and women has a fierce determination, and it's palpable when you get close to them. They want to change the face of this country. What we couldn't do, they are going to do it. All that we need to do is to let them know that yes, there are challenges in the country, but we should shine a spotlight on these great things that we are doing. And if we can take a cue, we should rather do a program that highlight these young men and women and tell the world that Ghana is moving in spite of the challenges.
So that is Ghana's Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Seduchum there. Now, I've been joined in the studio by Honorable Samuel Okudzoto-Ablakwa. He is Member of Parliament for North Tongue, and he's been there before. He's been Ghana's former Deputy Minister of Education. Now, you had your colleague there. How do you feel after listening to him?
I have to be honest with you, very disappointed. I mean, a certain arrogance of power which should not be exhibited. The Honorable Minister for Education should reflect, and I'm sure that after reflection he will come back and he will not be proud of how he spoke. Joy must be commended for this series which you call Ghana Schools of Shame. And really, it is a most appropriate title. These schools represent our collective shame. All of us in leadership must be embarrassed. And you see, ministers don't tell journalists what they should cover, what they should focus on. When you are doing your positive program where he was speaking, you went to cover. You didn't say you would not go cover that. But when you decide, by way of editorial discretion, that you are going to also highlight the ills, the challenges, the shortcomings, it should not be condemned, and it should not be dismissed. So that arrogance of power would not help us, and it means that the minister is therefore not going to take action. What I expected to hear from the minister is that this is what we have outlined. This is our program. We have taken note. We have put together a database of the number of schools we have in this country without furniture. These are the plans. By 2 years, 3 years, we are going to clear the backlog, and we are going to address this very, very quickly. And we've secured funding, we've ordered, we've procured. This is how we are going about it. You present solutions. You don't exhibit arrogance and condemn the journalists. I must also emphasize that this report you have put out, I remember in March of 2016, when I was Deputy Minister for Education, the very people who are condemning the media today made it a point to go and highlight shortcomings in the education sector. I remember the then vice presidential candidate. It was very publicized when he went to a school called Kpandai Basic School, and he later went to donate furniture.
Okay.
They did a lot of furniture politics. So how is it that suddenly that should not be highlighted? You were highlighting it when you were in opposition. Now you are condemning the media for highlighting.
But
now,
this challenge that we're highlighting today has been there for
Yes.
For a long time now,
Yes.
even when you were Deputy Minister of Education.
Yes.
Why are we still dealing? Why was it not fixed during your time? Why we still have to dealing with this?
Yes.
till today?
You see, so that's why we came up with the school under trees policy. And I recall that we did a rapid program that cleared about 3,000 of these schools under trees. We also had an intervention that supplied furniture, free furniture for the schools. But what happens is that they will break down, they will not be replaced, they will not be repaired, and then sometimes schools are awarded on contract without furnishing. So schools are completed and they are now waiting for furniture. What we then identified really, which is the crux of the matter, is that we must decentralize education. So I recall that President Mahama set up an interministerial decentralization committee, and we were on the verge, very much on the cusp, of decentralizing health and education. Okay. Unfortunately, that work has not continued. I can tell you that if we do not decentralize education, where we empower the district education director, where he or she can prepare their budget, they know their needs. I have about 200 schools in my district. 50 of them don't have furniture. This is my budget. These are my priorities. You sit in Accra at the center. You say you are going to do free tablets for all secondary school students. When you have this challenge, you can't provide food to your free SHS program, and then your basic education is in crisis. You say you are going to distribute tablets, which is not budgeted for, by the way. As a member of parliament, I haven't seen any allocation in the 2023 budget for that. Okay. So it tells me that lost, priority, totally misplaced. Okay. We should decentralize education, right. Empower the district education directorate. That is why if you come to my district, I can conclude with a personal practical example. I have established what I call the Furniture and Footwear Bank. So we are not waiting for the central government. Okay. So we mobilize our own resources, local carpenters, and then we store furniture. So anytime we get a call, emergency, this school, we need 20 pieces of furniture, 50 pieces of furniture, or footwear. We don't want to see children going to school barefooted. Okay. We immediately, we immediately, will call the team leader.
You must be commended for today, because we do monitor. Yes. But we have a part 3 of this work, where I would love to hear your views on that work when we air it on Monday. But stay with me, because I'll be picking your last thought. Let me go on to Zoom now and speak with the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, Dr. Peter Anti, who says government must step up equitable distribution of education resources. He joins me on Zoom now on latest development in the education sector. Doc, grateful for your time. Should we focus on highlighting the rich and not the poor?
Education is a means by which we are able to bridge the gap of inequality. And therefore, if we continue to tell the story of those who are doing well, we are doing a grave injustice to those who are not doing well. We need to push and tell the stories of those who are not doing well, so that we can get all the help that we need from CSOs, from NGOs, from funding agencies, and so on and so forth, including the government, because we have seen that the government alone cannot do it all. And a typical example is what happened at Bremen Jamra about 5-6 years ago, where up to now, the school is still having challenges with their infrastructure in terms of the classrooms. And we have not had any substantial improvement in the school environment up to now, although the building collapsed and we had a whole national disaster resulting from that. So for me, and looking at my background, and for most of us who have experienced education in rural settings, we can say that not all of us were able to move up after we left the school, because we were not exposed to the basic quality variables that every student enjoys in the urban setting. So it is a good thing that Joy is doing. We should encourage them, and authorities should pick a cue from this and use this in their planning. And at the end of the day, they can boast and say that when we came, there were this number of schools in this particular region. By the time we were leaving office, or by the time we are going for this lesson, we have been able to reduce this number to that number. And by doing that, we are empowering a lot of young people who would not have had access to quality education. That should be the focus of anybody who thinks about the future of this country. We cannot continue to have people studying in these kind of structures, sitting on the floor, and we just experienced a disaster. 8 students in their quest to experience education have to die. The nation is quiet. We are not talking about it because it's normal for us. How many more of these children do we want to die before we start distributing our resources equitably to ensure that those who do not have are given the opportunity to experience the good education that our wards and our children are enjoying in Accra and other urban cities?
All right. Grateful that you could join us here. Let me just take the way forward from you, Honorable Kujoto Ablakwa. What must we do? You've been there before.
So let's decentralize education. Let's empower the district education directorates, give them the resources. Let's stop pretending at the center that sitting in Accra, we know what is happening all across the country. Number 2, it is important for local community leaders to also be proactive, like we have done with our Furniture and Footwear Bank in Northtown. The education directorates, the DCEs, the assemblymen, they can show some more proactiveness, including members of parliament, so that at least they can be, I know that the taxes are not with that category really, but the DCs are getting some resources, the District Assembly Common Fund, and then the MPs get a little, the MPs, Common Fund. I think that if there's proper planning, we can, even at the local community, at least step in. But finally, the Minister of Education, the data is there, the MS data. When you go through the MS data, you should be able to see the shortfalls, where we will need furniture. And instead of highfalutin ideas of tablets for every secondary school student, let's get to the basics. Because you see, education is not just about passing exams. It's also building confidence, teaching people how to live, how to be decent. When you have little girls lie on the floor, writing on the floor, how will such a child grow? What will be the confidence level? And it's right from the word go. You are teaching that child to grow up in indignity and not to see him or herself as a proper human being. And so it's really a shame and very depressing, and we must end this. We must end it in our lifetime.
Grateful. So that's the words of former Deputy Minister of Education.